Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's live stream. And really special thanks for a number of constructors that we have here today. So apologies, I was actually watching kind of the live just to make sure that it's all going well. And I think there's about a 10-second delay. So just bear that in mind, pardon me. But at least I think the chat will be as close to real time as it can be, at least as I monitor it. So welcome everyone for the stream, and thank you for all the suggestions. We've got 3 great puzzles, I suspect, ahead of us. I haven't really had a chance to have a look at them because all the suggestions really came in kind of almost like last minute as I was logging on to make sure that everything's working. So I probably should actually just put them up all on the screen briefly so that you can see what we have in store for today. And assuming we're all in agreement, we'll carry on really. So let's have a look. We have puzzle number 1. So this is, pardon me, I'm going to have to hide chat for this so you guys can actually see the title. So this is the 1,000 subscriber. No, it isn't. Let's try that again. This is the 1,000 subscriber puzzle celebration by Dr. Logic. He promises it will be reasonably approachable, 1-star difficulty rating. So looking forward to that. Second puzzle we actually have is The Great Escape from Willpower, who is also present in the live at the moment. Sorry, I've got quite a few that I had as a backup in case we didn't have any suggestions. So this is The Great Escape 3-star difficulty. So we're really ramping up the difficulty. And I imagine we're going to probably have to somehow group solve this. I have only ever solved 2 3-star difficulty rated puzzles. Admittedly, I don't tend to give them a go, but I really do take my time with some of them. And then I think we can finish things off with, if I can find it. Yeah, I've got it. Equality cages. This is 110 from Gobbler, between a cage and a hard place. So hopefully everyone's on board with what kind of I just suggested. And if there's no objections, I can crack on really with the first one. And really, Dr. Logic, huge thank you, by the way, for creating something for as a special occasion. That is just absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to just ask, Dr. Logic, are these kind of like standard rule sets? Am I able to skip this, or is it worthwhile just quickly taking everyone through them? Then I can sort of bring up the chat window on top. Yeah, I probably should have asked in chat, given sort of the 10-second lag or so. So how about I'll do this? I'll just very quickly run through the rule set. I'm assuming they're all going to be relatively recognizable things. And then I'll put up the chat that will cover the rules, and we'll crack on. So normal Sudoku rules apply. We're all familiar with that. Digits along the German whisper line differ by 5. That's good. Lavender lines. That looks like zipper line to me. Then we have blue lines as region sum line. Then we have the golden lines are Nabner lines. Then we have thermometers, and then Kropke dots with no negative constraints. That's good enough for me. What I'm going to do is, in case you guys want to sort of play this in parallel with myself, it's just I'm going to paste the link into the chat. So you've got it as well, rather than having to hunt down for it. And then I'm going to just restart the clock and we can start the solve together. Let's see if I can bring up the chat window up. Yeah, done. Thank you. Right, let's crack on. Restart the clock, see how we get on. That's quite a long thermometer, I'm sort of noticing. Maybe worthwhile just... How many is that? Is that actually forced? Very neat. It is forced. Yeah, there you go. That's lovely. Thank you, Dr. Logic. Can't complain about that, really. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many? 1, 2, 3 cells. So that's at least a 6. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's at least a 6. We'd have to put 1, 2, and 3. That would be a 2. I don't know. Let's think about that a bit more. This is not 8 or 9. So this is at least a 5. It is 6 or 7. So we're getting up to an 8 at a minimum. Sorry, at a maximum, and at a minimum it's 6. Kind of just thinking about the polarity of this, if we can actually crack on with thinking about what the German Whisper color sets are. But just in case, here is kind of purple and orange to get started. I have a strong suspicion that purple is a low digit because it's on the region sum line. And 3 digits, if it's a maximum of 8, best case scenario, highest digit I can use would be a 5, I think, with 125. So yeah, purple is definitely low. Orange is definitely high. And let's see if we can actually, yeah, that's got to be a 2 with the 1-3. In here, it can't be a 4 with a 999. That's got to be the 4, that's got to be a 9. That is 7, 8. Can't be a 9, yeah. This is 1 or 3, can't be a 4. This is 7 or 9 because 6 and 8 can see it. It's actually quite interesting. I'm sort of looking at this black crop dot now, and I'm realizing with 6 and 8 out of the question, this is definitely a low digit. I don't think I'm necessarily going to keep coloring, by the way, but what else do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Heliopolis, for the congratulations and welcome. What else do we have in here? Oh, that's red. I don't know why I didn't color that one. I just missed it. And it could be a whole bunch of things. I don't know if it's worthwhile trying to pencil mark this at all. Right, let's just think about what the region sum line is. So we have 2. Well, whatever this is 1 more than the 5, 6, or 7. So this is 6, 7, or 8. Very close, but not quite creating a triplet in here. Very close to. Can I see anything else that's obvious? Got the zipper line. I'm not sure it's sort of time to look at it just yet. Maybe the Nabner lines, the crop dot. Could this be 6 or 8, or is this a low digit? Yeah, I feel like I'm rushing this. I'm sort of jumping around haphazardly rather than thinking, pausing and thinking, which is what I normally do. So maybe I should do a little bit of that. How about some thinking? That was actually going to be helpful, isn't it? Have I got any obvious Sudoku? 2 is in one of these 2 cells. Not really. Not really. What is this digit? That's up to 9. Well, it's not going to be... In fact, that is another 7, 9. Therefore, this is a maximum of 2. This is a low digit, which unfortunately could be anything. It could be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Not helpful. Keep thinking next step has to be the region sum line. I'm not seeing anything else that's sort of helping you move forward other than working on what these possibilities may be. So if we assume it's 6, that would be 1, 2, and 3. We've already placed the 2. This would be 1 and 3 plausible. What else do we have? If it's a 7, that'd be 1, 2, and 4. That would be a 4, which is plausible. That would be a 1, which is plausible. And if that's an 8 with a 2, it would need to be accompanied with 1 and 5. So I'm not sure I've really learned anything from this other than adding a whole bunch of pencil marks that aren't really helping. Not 2, not 1. This could be 4, 8. 2 on the bottom row, box 9 means 1 in box 8. Yep. Thank you, Vernico. That's a 1. That's a 3. That's got to be an 8 then. That's got to be a 9. That's got to be a 7. That removes 3 as an option. That's got to be 1 or 2. This is not 3 anymore. Does that? It doesn't remove 1, 2, 3 as an option. This is not an 8 anymore. So this is a maximum of 1 or 6. So 5s can go, given it can't be an 8. If this is 6 or 7, with either 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 3, let's think about what these would be. 6, quite tough. So because that's a 2, no, it's not necessarily the case, because it'll be 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 are not here. It would be 4 or 5 with 1 or 2. Yeah, this isn't very helpful. If it's 7 with 1, 2, and 4, so 2, 3, and 4 all in here looking at this cell. Is that helpful? 7 could still be 1 with a 6, looks fine. And then obviously all the high digits could still be here with 6 and 1 and yada, 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 yada. Bottom crop key is 2, 4 or 4, 8. Yeah, we've removed 1 and 3. So that definitely helps. That's definitely got a 4 on it. That's another blue. Am I going to keep coloring? Not sure. Maybe. Maybe. Got 7 and 8 looking in here. So that's 6 or 9. That's fairly restricted. This black crop key dot maybe. Right, so let's just think about what is left in here. No 7, no 7. That's just a 7. We need a 7 up here. We need a 7 between these two cells. Let's think about the rest of this column. I need a 6, 7, and 5. Problem is I've pencil marked pretty much all the options. So essentially 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 is not here. We've already confirmed that. 4 is not here, making it up there. So this is actually fairly down here. That is a 7. Oh, that's a 1. But obviously, once we place the 4, that tells us the total. So this has to add up to 7. Therefore, that's a 2. This is 2, 4, 8. That's not a 6. The loose digits are 5 and 9. No, 5 and 2. That's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 5. What else do we need to place in this box? Let's just have a quick think about it. It looks like it's working fine for me, John, by the way. Fingers crossed you're not having any problems. Shows as green for me. Let's just pencil mark all of these. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We need a 3, 5, 7. 3, 5, 6, and 7. Not 7. Not 5. Not 6. Not 3s. Is any of this helpful? Not really. Up here we need, it's not 1 or 2. It can be, no, it can't be 3, 6 because we've got 3, 5, 6 in here. It would break. So this is 4, 8. This is 3, 5, or 6. It's just 3, 6 because we've got a 5 in here. That 7 is gone. We need a 1 in this box. That's the 1. We have another 3, 6 in here with a 9. Order in box 8 now fixed. Yes, it is. Right, let's think about this box for a second. What do we have in here? Is it worthwhile thinking about these? Maybe. So it's clearly not 1, 6. It could be 2, 5, and it actually could still be 3, 4. So I'm not going to go down that route just yet. 1s I can see is in here. 2s we've already established. 3s, somewhat restricted, but not really. And then 4, not enough restrictions. I don't know if I want to go down that route. 3, 4, 8, 9. Kind of having a look around for just any easy digits, and the answer is not many. This is not 1, 2, or 2, 4. So this could be 4, 8, or 3, 6 still available. How does that affect this, if any? 3, 4 clearly would be. So essentially, we've got a virtual 3, 4 between this, because this is either 3, 4. Right, that breaks the black Kropke dot. So that's 5, 2. Therefore, that's the 2, that's the 5. That's got to be now a 3 to be consecutive with the 2. That's a 6. Wasn't expecting that as a resolution at all. Wrong cell. That's 5, 6. That gives me the 7, the 3. Hang on, keyboard. Come on, cooperate. That's 5, 6. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6 and 9. We don't actually know the order of that. So I think we can come back and tidy up the Sudoku a bit, but I'm sort of thinking we should probably move on and think about what we have in store in here. Is it worthwhile? Yeah, probably just a bit of Sudoku to tidy up. Then we can actually take a look in there. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. We've got a 5 in here, which gives us a 5 there. 6 is not resolved. 7's not really. Actually, 7's almost resolved. Box 7, Nabner from 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. So 2 and 4 are on the line. Box 7. Yeah, we haven't got a 2. So the only remaining digits is 1, 2. We've got 3, 4. Only one of them can be on here. And then 8 and 9. Hang on, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Have I broken it already? Why did I put the 2 down here as a corner pencil mark? Surely that's incorrect. What was the reason for that? Yeah, this 2 here, that is forced. So that is definitely a 2. So from 3, 4, 8, and 9, I'm not seeing how we can make this Nabner line work. We broke something earlier. Can anyone see it? I mean, 8 and 9 is a problem. I sort of placed a 4, 8 because we determined that 3, 6 doesn't work because of this 3, so that makes sense. But that forces an 8. Now, this being a 9 was forced by the 6, 8 and the fact that this is a 7, 9 pair with a 3 next to it. So these two force a 9 in here, force an 8 in there. So that feels broken. Unless this is not 4, 8. Because the options were 2, 4, and 8. Broken in box 2, you place pencil marks for options of 6 sum for the blue line only. Is that what I did? You're right. That's what I did. Because I only placed the 5s, sort of the 1, 5, 2, 4 option, but I didn't really think about the 7, and then I immediately just went with it. Ouch. I may have to undo quite a bit. Sorry, gentlemen and lady. That was a kind of rookie mistake there. That is a lot being undone. Okay, let's try that again. So the 4 is placed, which puts 1, 2, and 4. So I think that part is correct. So that still is correct. That is still a 7. Let's delete these offensive pencil marks before they get us a second time round. These have to add up to 7. 1 is up there, so I mean 1 and 6 can certainly work. 1, 6 is an option. 2, 5 is an option in this direction, which we've already established breaks the puzzle. And 3, 4 is not an option. Let's see if we can work from here again. This is not boding well, everyone. If we're assuming we're going to be able to do an even harder puzzle after this, and this is meant to be the easier introductory one today. So it still places a 9 for sure on here, which I think we can use as a Nabner to discount the 8 up there. And we can discount the 8 down here because of Sudoku. So that works for me as a 2-4, which forces a 6-1. And now we need, that 7 is gone. We still need a 6 on this column, and that's a 5 to finish this column. We place a 6 in here, we've got a 1. This is again from 2, 4, and 8, with a definite 4 in there. 4 looks, I mean, you know, highly likely. 2 and 4, 2 and 4. I mean, there's even a 2 up here. So high chance that this is a 2-4 pair, but let's just keep going. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 and 8 in these two sets. Let's have a think about this Nabner. It's clearly going to be helpful here. So we've done the 9. There is no 8. We've done 7, 6, 5 would work. So we've got essentially one of 3, 4 almost certainly, and probably the 5. So it's probably 3, 5, 9 is the only option that works on this, given 1 and 2 are not available, 6 and 7 are not available, 8 can't be placed. So I feel that's a reasonably solid deduction with that Nabner, which gives an 8, which gives us a 5, which gives us a 2-4 pair. In fact, we know the order 2 because of this 4. Now we have in here a 1-3 pair. That 3 tells us that's the 1, that's the 2. That can't be a 6 anymore, that's a 9. Wasn't expecting you can actually use the Nabner this way. This 2 gives us an order, that's 2, that's 4. This is 6 and 8. And to finish this box, we've got 1 and 4, I'm going to say. Row 4, column 7 completes a sum line. Row 4, column 7. Yes, of course it does. Thank you. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 8 and 9 in this box, clearly. That's the 9, that's the 8. We need a 7, which can only be in here. We need a 5. Let's just do a bit of classic Sudoku. Clearly it's helping. We need 2, 3, and I'm guessing a 5 to make sure that this adds up to 7. So that's the 3. We need something on here that is no longer 3 or 6. 1 and 2 are gone. It's got to be 4 and 8. The only one that would work would be 4 and 5, 8, 2, not the 4. That's the 4. We have something in here to finish this up. 6. Then I need 1, 7, and 9. Not 1, not 7. Not enough to disambiguate things, that's okay. We need a 2 up here and an 8. That 8 tells us that's the 2, that's the 8. And then to finish up in here, we need 3 and 9. Not able to place them just yet. We need a 7. 7 something, 5, 7. Can't disambiguate. 3 we can this time at least. That's a 3, that's a 6. Right, so this is probably going to be what helps us next. Well, at least we've got these 2 cells. Let's just figure out what they are. They are 2 and 6. So does it help? Not really. This 6 still allows us to have an 8, as obviously does the 2, so not necessarily. That's not a 9. We can take that for free. And anything else? So we've got another 179, as well, another 2 of 179. And we also need a 4 up here. So this zipper line looks quite... I'm not sure yet how we're going to be able to use it, but We're clearly going to have to. Got another pair of 2s in here. And then 2 of... no, hang on. I've got 3 digits and 2 cells. There's another digit in here that I need. 6. And these are 6s that are lining up in the 2 columns. That's a 6. X-wing of 6s. B4, I guess he means column 4 and... I think that's what Todd is referring to. I'm hoping that's what he's referring to. Naked single, row 1, column 3. Row 1, column 3. Quite possibly. We have 1, 7, and 9. No, not yet. It's just 1 or 4, I think. No, we've already established the 4 is not there. So yeah, it has to be a 1. Well spotted, Neil. I'm clearly slowing down enough that you guys are having to spot things now. We need 2 more things. We need another 3, 5 and an 8. And that 8 tells us that's the 8. That's the 3, 5. This row now we've got 3, 5, and 7. That's a triplet. We've got another 1 in here of them, plus a 1, which I cannot place yet. Got a 5, 7 in here with an 8, I'm going to say, and I cannot spot that yet either. So this is quite interesting. Now, if I place 5 or 7 in here, I'm just thinking about this row since I've got a 5, 7, or 8 in there. Now, if I place 5 and 7, that would put 2 and 8. So 7 is not actually possible because it would break this cell. So that's not 7 for sure. But whatever it is, it's actually quite restrictive because the 5 would force 2 and 8. The 8 would force 6 and 2. So very restrictive. We may actually have to think about the zipper line now. Of course, I haven't actually checked, how many cells the zipper line is. So we've got 2, 2, 3, 3. So that's the middle, isn't it? 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So clearly can't have a 9 in here. This is from 2, 3, and 7. Can't have a 9 in here either. This is from 4 and 7. Sort of quickly approaching triplets, etc., but not quite. The fact that this is a center and it is made up of either a 3, 9, I think 3 is just way too small with some of the options that we have on here. So this is not 3. Very likely to be a 9 or a 5. 5 feels also unlikely if I'm honest, because the smallest I can make this would be a 5, and then I've got, you've got 3 things that need to add up to 5 and 3 things in here. That has to be a 9. So that gives us a 3, that has to be the 5, that gives us the 8, that's not the 8, that's the 6, that's the 2, that's the 6, that has to add up to 9. 4 or 7, that gives us 5 or 2. 2 is not available, that's the 5 with a 4. That's 7 or 9, that has to be a 7, that's a 9. I think we've pretty much got it, everyone. 2, 9. What is this cell? That has to be a 7 with the 2. 5 and 7. That's a 3, that's a 1, that's a 4, 1, 8. And that's a 9. 5, and if there are no other mistakes with this solve. Wow, 25 minutes. Dr. Logic, that's a very misleading 1-star roll, to be fair. That's a kind of slightly sweating sleuth trying to solve this puzzle. But, I mean, I think first off, Dr. Logic, thank you so much for a puzzle for a special occasion. Love that you guys have been supporting me so far. And that you're enjoying the content. But, I mean, huge thanks around the content, really, to the constructors who are creating such phenomenal puzzles. So, I think we're on to puzzle 2, unless anybody objects. Right, so a 3-star difficulty rating. We're really ramping up the difficulty now. I've hidden the chat briefly whilst we go through the rule sets. I've had to condense it into this so we can actually read it briefly. And normal Sudoku, thermometers increase from the bulb end, numbers with a white dot between them are consecutive, highlighted greens are odd, highlighted reds are even. That's quite an unusual color choice, by the way, Will. You are a prisoner. Starting in the center of box 5, when you escape, you must go straight if the number you are on is odd. You must turn right or left if the number you are on is even. You must travel through exactly 7 cells in each box before moving to the next box. Sorry, try that again. You must travel through exactly 7 cells. Could you drag up that chat window up slightly so we don't have to exit full screen, stay up to date with the comments? It's a, yeah, reasonable request. How do I actually, let me just sort of bring it up. Yeah, I need to somehow scroll this. Let me see if I can fix it quickly. Oh. Transform. Right, I'm going to hide it again just so that we just read this rule set, which, Will, you're on the hook. If I misinterpret it, you're going to have to sort of shout out in the chat when I'm going wrong. So you go straight if it's an odd digit. You turn right if it's or left if it's an even digit. You have to travel exactly 7 cells in each box before moving on to the next box. So in a way, Will is telling us that we have to go through quite a few even digits because we have to keep sort of turning around, something like that, to stand up a chance. Yeah, create a snake that takes up 7 of the 9 cells in each box, except the last one, which is 6. And no cell can be visited twice, kind of standard snake rules. Once you leave a box, you cannot return to it. The path is a single orthogonal path through all 9 boxes. Scary. Very scary. Right. We are starting in the center of box 9. So I should actually link to this. I am going to try and paste this so that it is visible for you guys. It's a humongous link. I can't even paste it actually. Are you guys able to find it, or do you want me to take a moment to create a small URL for it? Okay. If you need a small URL for it, shout out in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to restart the clock. I think we've got the gist of the rule set, and we can crack on. I am useless at snake path puzzles as well, Vernico. I almost tend to always avoid them. So I have something that, Will has given us for free. This is one end of the snake. We're going to have to figure out the rest from here. Right, let's a quick reminder. Reds are even, greens are odd. So just let's start with the easy bits. Thermometers. This is 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. I think that is easy. 8. Any puzzle where you can just place a few digits, I can't complain really. 1, 3, 5. This could be 7. It can't be 9. So in fact, the rest is forced again. This has to be a 6, and this has to be an 8. What is this? This is 1, 3, 5, 7. It's not a 7, obviously, because we've got a 7 on the other side. That's a 9. So I can do one degree of freedom because they're all odd. These cells should be interesting. So you said something about we have to exit through a 6. So let's have I mean, we can place an 8 in the center, so that is the 8. Let's think about this for a second. So we have to travel through exactly 7 cells in each box before moving on to the next box. Except the last box, you must travel through 6 cells. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought for some reason that when we're jumping between boxes, it has to be through the 6. And that is absolutely not what is being said here. So that is not true. Now, I'm kind of sort of thinking out loud here. The fact that we're visiting so many cells almost suggests / hints that you have to visit all the even digits. And I kind of want to test if that is true or not. And the way to sort of try and prove it, it's not a great example to go with this box because we know that we're starting from the center. But I could do something like very cheeky where essentially it's something like that. And then you skip out these 2 cells. So that's quite optimal use. And then you only end up with 2 even cells. Then you can sort of jump wherever you want. Well, you can't go back to the same box. So entering the box either has to be this way or that way. I can't keep it going straight. So the absolute minimum number of even digits that the snake has to visit is 3. Now, for box 5 specifically, I think because we are in the center, I don't believe, I feel like we have to visit all of these cells. So I'm going to delete this so that it doesn't confuse us. But I think we have to visit all the even cells to stand a chance of visiting so many. I'm also tempted to say, so which 2 cells would we exclude in this and still make it work? It's a very interesting question, actually. Why do I think it's that interesting? Sorry, this is just bugging me. I'm looking at easier stuff than the snake and thinking, let's just take a look at other things. But that's a 4 at a minimum, therefore that's a 5 at a minimum. So I'm just going to humor me. I'm just going to pencil mark the options in here. And then we'll move on. I think that can mean, because this could be as high as 7, this could be as high as 3, then that could be 4 or 6. So I think that's the collective options that we have. This clearly has to be an odd digit. It is not 3, but it could be 5 or 7. Right, that's not the right green. Do I have the right green in here? Not really. This green will have to do. Seven can be placed. Yeah, it can be. I mean, I'm not sort of thinking Sudoku just yet. I'm more thinking, admittedly, I got distracted by the thermometer, but I'm trying to figure out, you know, we can do a bit of pencil marking, etc. that would help us, but I'm just trying to think about this snake. And I'll be honest, it's not very intuitive for me. So I can turn, no, straight, turn. Yeah, that breaks. Unless I exit at that point. I would have to actually have 2. So, you know, that feels like the most likely solution. But what I'm trying to figure out is what restrictions this is placing on the snake. And clearly I can't exit that way. I can't exit. Okay, that's an obvious place to start. I cannot go into an odd cell because that would force me to continue straight, and I've immediately exited. I can't return to the box, and therefore that basically stops us immediately. So I have to exit from an even cell, and therefore this would allow me to turn, continue straight, turn, and then turn left. Yeah, so that's pretty solid. Now, as soon as you hit another box, Now, admittedly, I can obviously turn again here. Sorry, I can obviously turn again here with an even digit. But let's just have a think about what this snake is telling us for a moment. Actually, here's a thought that just occurred to me. I think this is our final box. You see, the challenge with this box is we've got 3 odd cells that if I enter any one of them, I basically either run off the grid, which clearly won't work, or I have to go straight. So this is my end box. And essentially the snake is going a tour sort of this way round and then ends up in here. So I think those 3 odd digits forces this route for the snake. Because otherwise, how can I visit 8 cells in this box, given that these 3 are odd and I can't travel down any of them? Except from this box, and then I hit the end and then, walk off the edge of the grid. So we now know that we have a bit of a destination for the snake, and we just need to work through the odd and even possibilities to try and figure out what's going on in here. So options, and Neil is saying it breaks if you turn immediately. I have the same suspicion. I'm just trying to think, Neil, almost like the rule set so we can actually use it. So we can do something. What would that look like? And that will be another turn. I mean, this is not great, by the way. It's just, you can sort of see a relatively obvious path for the snake, which is probably correct. No, I can't visit the 9. But again, I don't really want to sort of go down that route where I feel like I have the correct path. I just sort of want to sort of systematically work through it. So let's just ignore everything that I've just drawn for a moment. If I turn, I've used 1 even digit. And I think we've established earlier when we went through an example that the snake always has to go through at least 3 even digits so that we can visit 7. So if I turn here, I'm pretty sure, as Neil said, it will break. Because either I'm sort of exiting. Let me just sort of show you. So if I turn here, because that's an even, if this is even, I've broken the puzzle. I'll turn, and then I can't exit. I can't come out of this box. If that is odd, I would have to have an even digit in here, which would turn me, and then I would almost basically turn forever, never exiting this box. So I think what I drew earlier was actually kind of somewhat correct. I have to go through. This has to be odd. Same sort of challenge exists. If I turn, I'm going to ignore the 6. I have to ignore the 7. And then how can I visit the 8 and still have visited all of these? So I think that does force kind of that diagram I drew earlier as such. And therefore that has to be odd. For this to be 7, that also has to be odd. This has to be, sorry, I'm going to have to go with red here rather than pink. And that gives us basically sort of a, sorry, I'm deleting all of these, kind of something that is fairly definitive. White Kropke dot means that's even because that's odd. So that's the 4th even. That's got to be odd. These are 2, 4. That's not 1, so this is 3, 5. We know with the 9s, well, one of these is a 9. Not enough information really, sort of. Actually, where does 1 go? This is a 1. This is a 3. Do I really want to pencil mark any more than that? Not really. I'm going to leave it. Right, 2, 4. So once again, I think I have to turn. If I don't turn, I go straight. I've already excluded both of these cells. Could I do something as such? Here, I'm going to sort of draw it. Could I do something like that? That would be 1, 2, 3 even digits. That actually works. Or at least it looks like it does. So that feels like one possibility. Now I think the other possibility is what I had earlier, which was we turn immediately and then come back out this way. Now in both scenarios that I just showed you, I always exit along this part. I always exit from the 3 into this cage. So I think that part we can be reasonably confident about. And there's a question of how do we get to this digit? This digit clearly cannot be odd. Otherwise, I'll be coming from off the screen. So that has to be an even digit. That's also 2 or 4. We've got 6 and 8 in the column. And then it's a question of what links all of these two ends. Well, one thing we know for sure is we're coming out this way, and whether it goes straight up, because we know that there is another 2, 4. One of these is even with a 2, 4 with a 9. So I'm just going to corner pencil mark the 9 in for a moment. Then one of these cells, because essentially we've got a second 2, 4 in here, we've got one of these that turns it, towards this corner, is a 6, 8. And I don't know which it is. Then we have odd digits in here. That's 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. There is, at least one odd digit in one of these two cells. And it's not 1, and it's not 3, and it's not 9. It's from 5 or 7. Okay, I'm going to leave it here. It feels like we're going to have to come back to this. I'm not sure we can actually resolve this just yet until we make a bit more progress. We probably need to think about this box for a second and then come back to it. Now, the fact that we've gotten to this far, now I think if I continue straight, I've broken the puzzle, because I'm going to have to sort of turn around and cross the snake, so to speak, which I don't think would work. So we immediately have to turn here. And that gives us a complete set of even digits, and all of these now are odd. And we have to exit now from this cell. And we need to make sure that we're visiting 7 cells. And I just don't see how I could do it in any other way other than what I have in here, what I've just drawn. Which would give us 2 more, sorry, I meant to do this, even digits, to do all of these turns, and that's all the even digits in box 8. These are odd. We need 1, 3, and 9 in here. Can't actually discount anything just yet. I'll tell you sort of my thinking is, again, based on this odd setup in here, that we're going to have to do something as such, and I don't think any other option would work. Sorry, I changed color of the snake for a second, and I didn't mean to. I think that's the only way this would work. So there's something very special about having a run of odd digits. It almost, like if you have a run of odd digits like we have in here or there or here, it almost feels like you always have to take it. And I'm kind of trying to think out loud why. So it feels like it's forced because if we don't take it, then obviously I can't hit any of them dead on because that would take me off the grid. And if I don't take that corner cell, then I haven't actually achieved the required 7. So that would immediately break that requirement. So this is also forced in box 9. No, that doesn't work because that's an odd digit. Oh yeah, we're going to have to do something ridiculous like that. Yeah. That's too many even digits. So that doesn't work. No. No. Come on. That does. So I think I'm pretty confident with the exit. I have to take this cell. And if I take this cell, I have to get to it, and I can't get to it from the 9. So if I work on this backwards for a second, I think these are forced. I have to turn. Can't go in here, otherwise it would go crash into the 8. So I have to turn. And that's 2 even digits. Now, if I turn obviously in here as 3, that doesn't work. So that's got to be the other odd digits. These have got to be, sorry, even I meant. That's got to be the even digits. That's odd. And that's got to be sort of the shape of the snake. Carry on, carry on. Has to be even. In fact, both of these have to be even because we colored all the remaining odds. So these are from 2, 4, which allows me to turn. And then, of course, to make sure that it's only 7, these have to be even. And then I immediately exit. That's even. So I immediately turn. We'll come back to that in a second because this is very helpful. This is 6, 8. That's not a 6. We know that there is a 6 between them. I mean, I'm not sure why I'm corner pencil marking this. We know that there's a 2, 4, 6 triplet. That's an 8. That doesn't help. Maybe we need to carry on with a snake rather than take a diversion and sort of have a look at trying to complete this Sudoku. Let's just carry on with this for a bit longer. I've already done all the evens. That's got to be odd. I clearly need to stop myself from crashing out of this, so that's got to be even. I don't know what these are, do I? I know there's a 6 in here. Doesn't allow me to sort of pencil mark what this is. Right, we still need to get to 7 cells in here. Now, I don't know if I can go through this cell. You see, if I essentially hit it dead on, actually, I kind of forgot to color this cell. Let me do that. If I, hit this dead on, that would immediately turn me left, and then I would basically be off the grid. The other alternative would be if I hit it from this side and then exit that way. That's a possibility. But how do I get here? It mean I would have to visit 8 cells. So I don't think I visit this even cell at all. And therefore, I believe I exit from this odd cell. Therefore, that's another odd cell that I'm exiting from. I clearly can't go through this and crash. So that has to be also straight. That has to be that. I don't think there is another way of solving box 3. We've got a 9 in here. I don't know what this digit is. It's 1 or 3. Because it's not 5 or 7. It's not 9. Thank you for the well wishes. You can do all the coloring in box 6 just through Sudoku. I think, yeah, we've done that. Sorry, just catching up on all the comments right now. Row 9, column 9. Yeah, they're even. Can't enter the 9 in box 8. Yeah, I don't know why I kept obsessing about going through the 9 earlier. Thank you, Anna, for the congratulations. And yes, Neil, I'm also enjoying this immensely. Now focus on path and parity placings. No need for pencil marking at the moment. Box 7 path can be placed already. I mean, I agree with you. I really should just do that, but, you know, can't resist just writing in some digits. I really couldn't. And, you know, the fact that there is a 5 in here now. Anyway, let's keep it constructive, shall we? So that's odd. Clearly, we're continuing. What else do we have in here? I need to visit 7 cells. How am I doing that with all of these odd digits? Did I break it? Yeah, I feel like I've done something wrong here, which tells me I've done the snake in box 3 incorrectly. So, how do I visit 7 cells in box 2? I'm kind of struggling with this one. You see, if I try and go through any of these odd digits, it sort of breaks me back out of that box, and I really shouldn't. And we only visit each box once. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. I'm being very silly. For some reason, I just looked at this cell, discounted it as one that's being visited, when obviously we have. So the 2 cells that I'm not visiting are these 2 cells, and then I'm visiting all of the rest in some shape or form. Now, that some shape or form, you know, could be so many different ones. That's one option. 1, 2, 3, 4 evens, 2 odds. That looks good to me. Can I actually do anything else other than what I just did? Yeah, I can't do that. So I'm pretty sure, like, let me just think. If I go straight, I think I've broken it, because that I would have to turn, and then to visit all the remaining cells, I'd have to have all of these as even digits, and that just doesn't work. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That does work. That's terrible. Yeah, that actually does work. And that also works. So there's a few different options that work. I can't believe that works. Am I miscounting the number of evens? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it really is 4. So I'm entering from either one of these 2. I'm using 2 evens in each of these columns, which works. So yeah, they're both working is the short answer. Maybe we need to do a little bit of Sudoku just to try and figure out what options don't, you know, do and don't work. That's kind of my thinking right now. How are we doing, by the way? We've been at an hour on this stream. We've been 25 minutes on this puzzle. I mean, I'm sure we can sort of move a bit quicker and see if we can get to puzzle number 3, but I'll probably take a vote at the end, just so that we don't lose too many people. Let's do this. Let's do a bit of Sudoku. That's a 3-9. 3-9 with a 5-7. So sorry, 3-9. I need a 1, 5, and 7. That would be 1 or 5. I know that there is another even digit. In fact, let's just have a think about it. So we said this is one option. What does that look like? That looks like 2 evens, an odd, and that's fine. and then there's an even somewhere in here. So that option certainly works. The second option, which we discussed previously, was this option, and that would put an odd in here. That would require 2 evens, which no longer works because we've already got 3 evens. So this is actually now resolvable. This has to be the path. That has to be the 9, because that's the odd digit. That's 2, 4. This has to be even as well. That is now 6, 8. In fact, we've got all the evens. That's odd. We don't know what these are for the moment. Yeah. Okay. We placed 1, 3, 5. This is 5, 7. This is a 7. This is 1, 3, 9 again. It's not, it's only 1, 3. There's a 9 in here. That's not a 9. That's a 1, 3 pair. That's a 7. This gives me the 5, the 7. The 5 doesn't help me with the 4, 6, unfortunately. Will, very typical. That gives me a 3, a 5. Well, the thermometer helps me though. That's 4, that's 6. The 3 9s, I don't have anything to resolve them just yet. I know that these are from 2 and 8. That's got to be the 6. That's a 2 or 4. In fact, it's a 4, 2, 4. That's not a 4. This is 6 or 8. It's just an 8, a 6, and 8. That's a 2. These are not 2. That's the 2. That's a 6. I need in here an 8 and, well, we've got 1, 3, so we need a 5, 8 pair. Is that 1, 3 resolved at all? Doesn't look like it. What else do I know? 2, 4, 6, not really. 2 and 4, again, not really. 9 and 7. So we've got 1, 3, and 5 in here. I am going to just write them in quickly and just remove some of the options. 5, that looks fine. We have another 1, 3, 5. Well, actually, that 3 is just, that's a 5. That gives me a 4, a 2. That has to be a 1. That's not a 1. This is 3 or 9. That's the 3. That's the 9. That's not a 9. That's the 9. This is a 1. That's a 3. That's a 5. I rushed that bit a little bit. Hopefully I did it correctly. That's got to be 3, 1, 3. And then 5 and 8, which is also resolved. Right. So that's a decent chunk of Sudoku done. Are the 4 6s resolved? Not to my knowledge. Right, let's take a look at options once again. So up there we've got 1, 5, and 9. That's the 1, that's the 5, that's the 9. Then it's a question of whether we turn. So we know that we have an 8 up here. So if we don't turn, this will be 3 or 9. 9 is not available, but 3 is. So we don't actually know that just yet. Is there anything that would help me with this? No. How about one thing that we can do is just pencil mark what these are and then come back to the right hand side. We've got 2, 6, and 9, I'm going to say. That's 6 and 9, that's a 2. Then we have 6 and 9. I don't see anything that would disambiguate it, so that's 6 and 9. Then we have in here 4, 7, and 8. That's not 7. That's not 4. Then both of these are remaining options. 8 is everywhere though, which is unfortunately. Row 2 is a bit crowded with odds. Yes, it is very crowded with odds, isn't it? We only have room for one more odd. And it's a 7. So let's just come back to that example that we had. That works. That doesn't, because we only have room for one more odd. So that tells us the answer. Thank you, Will. That's the only way we can complete box 2 in terms of snake. These are both evens. That's an odd. Oh, 2, column 5 is even. Yes, it is. That's even as well. We've got quite a few of them. And then obviously there's another one in here. Let's just do a bit of Sudoku and clean up. That's 7, that's 8. In fact, we can just immediately turn up, then turn left. Then I imagine we need to turn again, and that's 6, and that's the finish. So that's 6, that's 9, that's 4. That 8 gives me the 2 and the 8. That 9 gives me the 3 and the 9. This is 3, and that's 7. I need a digit in here, 2. Let me just color these so I don't lose sight of them. I need 4 and 8. Yeah, I know the order. That's 8, that's 4. And then 6, 4, 6, 4, and there's no other mistakes. That's the finish. Hopefully, Will, that is the correct finish. But always struggle with to finish your turn at the 2 and exit the... Oh, you have to... Sorry, excuse me. You have to exit. Yeah. Excuse me. It does say you have to exit. Sorry about that. There we go. That is the correct. Cool. I think unless there's any other objections... Unless there's any other objections, we can give number 3 a go. We're kind of an hour, 10 minutes into the live. I think I'm just going to double check. Are you guys up for it? Are people interested? Is there a way I can do a poll? Yes, I can. Ready for puzzle 3? Yes, no. Where did chat go? Right. May have to leave it on this view. Gentlemen, sorry. Just to make sure that I do actually have chat up and running on the screen. Doesn't really show me kind of live count for myself, which is... right, so we've got 93% as yes. I'm going to go with there is enough people interested that we're going to carry on. If you're not able to stay on, just going to say thank you for joining it, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Obviously, this will be a recording. It will be available later. So we'll keep going. I don't know how many people voted in the end. It doesn't actually tell me. Oh, 15 votes, 93% said yes. I guess that means one person said no. Cool. So we are carrying on with number 3. So apologies for this, Gobbler. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to this view for a brief second, take everyone through the rules, and then we'll crack on. So we've got equality cages. I think most of you guys are probably familiar with this rule set by now, in that, within every one of these cages, we need to have an equal number of odd/even digits and low/high digits. Clearly, you need to place the digits 1 to 9 as a normal Sudoku in every row, column, and box. We have crop key dots without a negative constraint, so black dots, no white dots, just black dots, and between lines. Yeah, well, I mean, I really haven't said enough about this puzzle. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I think I'm really glad that we did a live solve of it. As I said, I normally wouldn't dare trying to solve a 3-star difficulty rated puzzle, but it was refreshingly approachable, and no doubt helped by the fact that you guys were there giving me lots of tips of what I've missed as I was going along. Right, that's kind of rules for puzzle 3. I'll put up the chat again right now and restart the clock and see how I get on. And John Brown, thank you so much, by the way, for the donation. And Sam earlier, you guys really don't have to. And I'm glad that you're here to support and celebrate this 1,000 subscriber milestone. So I'm starting kind of immediately with 3-6. You only make this mistake once, embarrassingly, and then you just move on. But these from all the black Kropke dots, as we know, this is the only possible set in a 2-cell equality cage. Because they're in between, that forces a 4-5 in here. The fact that we have 4-5, 3 cells in this, so let me just think, if this is 6, chances are this would be the lower digit. And then I'd have to fit, in addition to 4-5, 1, 2, and 3, I don't think I can add a 1 on here. So I'm tempted to say that's forcing a 3, that's forcing a 6. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 9. That gives me a low even digit. I've already got 4 and 5, that's a 2, that's a 3, that's a 1. Where do I go from here? So I'm kind of half tempted. I'm not sure I'm fully tempted, by the way, to color code these circles in the in-between lines. So half tempted. And let's just, so I can't be 1 or 9. I can't be an extreme in here. So at most this is 2 or 8. Let's go with 2 for a second. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is forced to be 1 or 9. That is definitely 2 or 8, which makes this an odd digit. If it's 2, this would be a 7, and then that would be an 8. If it's 8, this would have to be a low odd digit, and it's not a 1. It would be a 3, and then there are tons of options in here. No, I can't do 3. I've already written 3, haven't I? 1 and 3 are done. So yeah, that has to be 7. That has to be 2. Therefore, this has to be 9. Yeah, the lag for the live stream. So despite the fact that I live pretty central in London, I can't get decent internet. So the only internet speed that I can get is megabit, or like, if you're lucky. So, Mrs. Sleuth and I, given the dependency we have on our internet, we use Starlink. But it does mean that, you do experience packet loss. You do experience kind of, we call it outages, but they're under 2 seconds. So what it means for you guys is my upload speed is horrendous. It's like 20 megabits or less, and it tends to be a bit choppy. I kind of lose a second or so of interconnectivity probably once an hour, once every half an hour. So that's probably why you tend to see live streams are not that smooth for me. What I've just done doesn't work, does it? Because where does 6 go in box 7? So I'm going to rewind this. I'm definitely going to rewind this. Let's try that again. The reason I sort of went with it is I think it's just the recent puzzle that I've done is where it had that unique in-between lines. And clearly this is not a unique in-between line. I can actually absolutely repeat digits. So this digit can be repeated 3 times. Hey Sniglet, welcome. Cage in box 7 needs an even. Yep, it does. I mean, it needs a low digit, which can only be from 2 and 4. So one of these is 2 or 4. I mean, the 6 is. So the fact that there is a 6 in here, yeah, I've definitely done something wrong. Because if you think about this equality cage, if I have a 6 in here, which Sudoku tells me I do, then I need a low odd digit, and both 1 and 3 are not available. So I've broken this somewhere. Now, I am going to just rewind this for a second. Right, 4, 5, 3, 6. I think that's pretty solid reasoning. If that was a 6, I'm still kind of not seeing it. 7, 8, and 9 with a 9 doesn't work. 3 with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 does. And then 6 going down with 4 and 5 forces 1, 2, and 3. So I'm pretty sure this is 3, this is 6, this is 6, 7, and 8, and this is 9. Now, maybe the mistake I made is I put the 1 in here and it sort of broke the puzzle. But let me just reason through that. Maybe I went a bit too fast. Again, that has to be a 2. Because I need a low even digit with this high odd digit. And this has to be, because the 4 and 5 are already pencil marked, they're the only 2 digits between 3 and 6. So that 2 is there. That 3 is here, that 1 is here. And therefore, come on, Sleuth, how can you not see this? The 6 is on the in-between line. Right, let's try that again. So, we have something here that is lower than 6 and is not a 5. So that's the low digit. It's not 1 or 3, it is 2 or 4. That's a low even digit. That has to be a high odd digit. 9 is not available, that's a 7. That has to be a low digit now to be able to fit all of these non-unique numbers. That was a bad assumption that I made earlier. And that would have to be a low digit of some sort. We'll come back to that. So, what do we have in here? We need a high digit. It's not 6 or 7. This is 8 or 9. And then a low digit that is not 2. Not 3. So 1 or 4 with 8 or 9. I'm tempted to actually pencil mark this, by the way. 1, 4 with 8 or 9. Unusual set of pencil marks for me. 6, 7, 6, 7. I need a 7 up here. Okay. Can I sort of write the rest of this? We've got 2, 4, and 5. So I've got another one in here with an 8. Which puts 8 for sure in here. That's the 6, 7's done. There's a 3 in there. Yeah, I'm not sure it's worthwhile carrying on with a bit of Sudoku at this point. All right, let's see what else do we have. So, I mean, it's clearly pointing us towards this in-between line. That feels like the direction of travel for some reason. Now, the question is, what is it helping us with? So let's think about what these cells can be. I'm pretty sure I cannot go up from here. It has to be a lower digit than 7, substantially lower, because there's at least 4 digits between it and this one, even if I repeat these cells, for example. So I have, and remember, these are inequality cages. So anyway, I've got 6, 5, 4, 3. This is at least 1 or 2. We need to have 6 on here, because if I go exclusively with the low digits that would go between 7 and 1 and 2 in here, I would have 3 low digits. I need at least 1 high digit that is less than 7 and between 1 and 2. So 6 is on here for sure. 6 is in here for sure. I can't write 6 apparently. This has to be a 6. Thank you, John. Hopefully all went well with your dog. And thank you for joining this evening. I know it's getting a little bit late, so I appreciate why some of you may have to drop out. Hopefully this will be a reasonably quick solve. I say hopefully. So we've got 6. What else do we have? We need 2 low digits, we said. So this is a high digit that is not 6, not 7. This is 8 or 9. If this is joined with the possibility of, because we've got 6, if this is an 8, we'd have 2 low odd digits, which would be 1 and 3. So that'll put a 2 in here, a 4, and no 3s. That actually works. 6 and 9 would mean 1 odd, 1 even. And I don't see a problem with that either. Okay. Maybe this is not the way to go. Am I gonna really pencil mark all the options in here? Tells me there's no 8 there. Don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. There's definitely an 8 inside the cage now, and therefore this is a 1-8 pair. Yeah, last puzzle for the evening, Sniglet. And then we have 4, 5, and a 9. So the options are 4, 5, and 9 in here. 4, 5, 7, and 9 up here. 4 feels extremely, extremely unlikely, because that would be 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, possible, but extremely unlikely. It still fits. So I'm going to leave it there as an option. This 1, 8. This 4, 5. That clearly can't be a 9. So 9 is up here. This is a 7, 9 pair, which gives us 2 low odd digits in this equality cage. That's a 2, 4, which gives us, I mean, you need low digits in both of these. This one doesn't have a 3, so there's a 1 in this one. There's a 3 in this one. It would have to be joined with an even digit, and this one is actually just 1, 8. This is 3, 6. That's not 6. 0 doesn't look to be a legitimate digit in Sudoku. Are there any play-along links? Gobbler, is it okay if you try and paste this one? Apologies, I didn't create tiny URLs in advance, and chat doesn't allow you to paste the entirety of this link. So apologies, Gobbler, if I impose on you one more time. We've got 2, 4, 5 with an 8. Not helpful. We need 2, 4, 5, 3. We've got a 9 in here. Yeah, I'm not sure this is. So 7 and 9, 2 and 4. 2 is extremely low. 1 or 8. This is clearly not going to be 1. So that's 8. That's 1. That's 9. That's 7. 2 or 4 works depending on what this is. That can't be a 1. That can't be a 2. That's a 4. That's a 2. That has to be lower than 1. Sorry, lower than 4, but not 3 or 1. That's forced. That's a 2. We know the composition of these cells now. We've got 7, 9, and 5. 9 can never be on an in-between line. So that's 5 and 7. We have tons of options here. I don't know if I'm going to pencil mark them all. Did I miss this? No, there is no 0, Luri. It says place the digits 1 through 9 in each empty cell. What I'll do, if you guys are okay with it, is maybe since there's multiple people asking for it, I'm just quickly popping in to create a tiny URL. Give me a moment. Probably take me like 10 seconds or so to just quickly do this. Hopefully that pastes. Yes, it does. Okay, that's a link to play along. Where was I? 2, 2. Is it worthwhile even thinking about this right now? I mean, there's a 1. 2 is in a number of places. 1, 2, 3. 4 is in a number of places. 5 and yeah, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 8. That's everything. Okay. Let's move on in the interest of time. I mean, this in-between line is quite lengthy, so it may be worthwhile thinking about this for the moment, but let me just see what else have I got that is obvious to do. So this has an even low digit because we've got 1 and 3 looking at it, so we need a 2 or 4 in here. I don't know the order right now. And then we need a high odd digit. Now, I don't think I can make the 2 in here. That clearly can't be a 1. That would force a 1 in here, which is available. I'm just thinking, sort of, see if I can disambiguate between 2 and 4. I'd need a high odd digit in here, so that kind of works. And I could do 7 or 9. That actually, it'll be 9. That's kind of a poor excuse to use 1 and 9 just to be able to fit a 2. But that's sort of forced with this setup, if that's the 2. If it's a 4, I can almost certainly easily fit it in the in-between circle. Why did I put the 2 in the middle? I clearly could have put the 2 in here as well. So no, this is not helpful. Not helpful. Let's just think, what else do we have? Probably worthwhile thinking about this equality cage one more time. We have an 8 now, so that is helpful. That is a 9. We have an even digit now, so we have a 2 or 4 alongside, you know, the even low digit that match. Well, hang on, because we've got 1 even, 1 odd in terms of high digits. I need 1 even, 1 odd in terms of low digits. So essentially I've got a 2-4 pair, which gives me a 1 in here, an 8 and a 1. I now need a 6 in here with 1 of 2, 4 is clearly not this cell, and 1 of 1 or 3, and it can't be a 1 in between line. So I've got 3 and 6, they have to be in here, plus 2 or 4. 8 in column 5 solves the 8, 9. Yes, it does. Sorry, I was a bit slow to see that. These are not unique. Stop thinking about them as unique. That's 2 and 4. That's 3, 6. That's not a 3. That still has that 6 down here. What are these cells? I know I have now a 7 in there. This is 5 or 9. That's the remaining digits that we have in here, with a definite 3 and then a 4 or 5. This equality cage is not 1 or 2. So 3 or 4 with, I mean, there's still quite a few options. Yeah, the 3 or 4, I've got all, you know, 2, 4 and 3, 6 in here. So the 3 or 4 is down here. 6 can't be there. And it will be joined with a high odd digit because 6 and 8 are gone. So that is 7 or 9, which can only join a 4. And this is 5, 7 or 9. 5, 7 pair in box 2 in box 8. Yes, 5, 7 pair in box 2. Excuse me, yep. Thank you. That's 7 or 9. This is now an odd digit. Sorry, this is a low. Sorry, let's try that again. What I was trying to say is the 2 low even digits are gone. I need a low odd digit in here. 1 and 3 are not in this cell. That's the 1 or 3. That's got to be a high even digits. That's 6 or 8. 8 is quite high. That would force a 9 in one of these cells, but we'll come back to that. Is it worthwhile thinking about this one at all? Maybe, maybe not. This in-between line, I mean, it's just, you know, between 2 and 9, there's like almost everything under the sun. It's just pointless. None of these are ones. 1 is restricted to one of these 3 cells. 7 is down here. Let's actually just think about row 3 for a second. We've got 1, 2, 3. This is not 6 or 7. That is... No, hang on. Excuse me. I've already got the 6 and the 8. So the 7 is there. And the other 2 digits are 4 or 5. So 4, 5. And then 4, 5 with a 7. You know, something that I haven't used in this equality cage puzzle yet. Normally, because I've made that mistake so many times, I think a lot about where 5s go. And I'm finding that's not really helpful, but it should be. That's a 5. You can see all of these, I mean, all of these are equality cages. We've already written this in between cell, and that's the 5, so that is the 5. We know that, again, there's tons of options here. I'm going to pencil mark this. 5's force a 5 in here, gives me a 9 down there, gives me a 7, gives me a 5. Doesn't help me with a 2 or 4, unfortunately. I have a 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 3 to 4 as the options in here. Then we have a 1 for sure with 3 or 4. So that forces this to be a 3. We knew that. And it's either a 1 with a 4 or a 2. We have an 8 in here with, I mean, we need a 5 outside of this, in this column. So that's the 5, that's the 4, that's the 5, that's 2, 4. Then we've got the same setup again, 8s with 2 4s. Did I select the right cells? No, I didn't. That's 4, that's 2. And then this is now known as a 4-7 pair. This forces 1 or 3 in here with a high even digit, which is 6 or 8. I'm not going to pencil mark this. I'm just going to... I mean, the fact that this is 6 or 8, and I really haven't looked at it, that's, you know, I really should. That's a set of extreme digits. Surely there is something there for us to look at. Did the stream break for anyone? Are you experiencing buffering? It's saying, okay. Sorry about this. Not normal for my internet to be this horrible, but 9 is in one of these 2 cells. Okay, so we've got to think about what this is. We said it's 2, 4 with 7 or 9. Maybe I haven't really thought about the 7 or 9 options enough. So if it's a 9, it would have to be in here. If it's a 7, it would have to be there. And then 2 or 4 could be in either. So that's kind of the full pencil mark of this thing. If that's a 9, that would have to be a low digit, which could be 2 or 4. So this would be from 1, 2, or 3 is one option. If that's a high digit, as in 9, that's kind of pushing it a bit. If it's 2 or 4, what would this be? If it's 2 or 4, then we have, well, I mean, 2 or 4 would go with a 7. That breaks it because we've got 8 and 9. Can't have 7 in the middle. So that's not the 7, that's the 2 or 4, that's the 9. That's a real shame because that it doesn't help us with the 6 or 8. It's still 8 is still on the table. Todd is pointing out 9 in box 3. You're right, and we've already established this has to be an odd digit, so 9 is not in here. 9 can't be on the in-between line. That's a 9. This is now 1, 2, or 3, depending on when this is a 4. So that's the low digit. That's the high digit. It's not 9. This is 6, 7, or 8 again. This would have to be something presumably lower. Can I do, I mean, I could do something ludicrous like 6 with a 7 and an 8 on this in-between setup. 7 wouldn't break anything. There would be a 6-8 pair that I wouldn't be able to disambiguate, but uniqueness is not a reason to discount this. This 2-4 tells me that's not a 2, that's 1 or 3. 1 or 3 tells me that's an even digit, that's not a 7. But a 1-3 pair now. Where does 2 go in all of this? Not sure. 3-6 pair, staring at this 1-3, that's a 1, that's a 3. That gives me all the options in the world between these two in-betweens. Let's just write what these are, or at least pencil mark them. This is 5 and 7, I'm going to say. We've got ones that line up, that's a 1. We need another 2-4, another 5-7, and then we need an 8. 8 can't be on the in-between line. 8 is in one of these two cells. Rest of this, we need a 1 in here, and one of the 6 or 8s. That's not the 1, that's the 1, that's the 8, that's the 6. I need another low digit and another high digit, and of different polarities. How are we doing for time? We're at 26 minutes. Kind of getting there. Getting there. You guys have been very, very quiet, by the way, for this solve. It feels like it's coming down to me. I'm sure you're able to help a bit more so we can speed this along. 1 has to go with an even digit. We still don't know what it is, the 6 or 8. Could be either. So what are the remaining digits we have in this box? We need 3, which is clearly not in here. It's got to be in one of these two cells. Puts a 3 in one of these two cells, lines up in there, not helping. Then we need a 6 or 8 or a 6 or 8. And again, we don't have enough information to disambiguate just yet. We know that this has to be lower than 6. That's the low digit. That's not the 3. That's the 3. That's the 6. What is that low digit? It is 2 or 4. It's not a 2. It is a 4, which gives us a 7, the 4. That has to be a high odd digit, and it's not 7. We've already written it in the box. That's a 9. We know what this cell is. 2. Yeah. Which is no 2 in here. End of between line next to 1 in box 6. I think I've got that already. B-read. 9 in box 3 we've done. And row 6, column 9 is a 6. Row 6, column 9. Row 6, column 9 is a 6. I don't think so. Or row 6, column 9 is a heart. I'm not sure how I'm reading that, Todd. I'm fairly sure it is a 4. We've placed... this is still 1, 6, or 8. Yep, 3 gives me the 2, gives me the 8 in here. That's no longer an 8. This is still 3 or 4, but it does give me this 4 finally, which gives me the 8. Oh, thank goodness, the 2, the 1, the 4, which gives me the 3 in here. We already knew this is a 3 or 6. We know now this is a 2, which gives me a 4 in here. We need another 5, 7, and that's a 2. That's 3 or 6, not disambiguated. What else do we have in general in here? We've got 1, 2, 4. We still actually have the 3. Yeah, we've basically pencil marked all our options. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. with this being 5, 7, 3, 6 in here, still not disambiguated. Dear oh dear. Between 5 and 9, I don't know why I've... Oh no, between 2 and 9. Yeah, 3 is an option. Ignore that. Between 4 and 9, tons of options. I mean, it's not 6. It could be 5. It could be 7, and it could be 8. So not hugely helpful. This is... What else do we have in this row? I need a 3, which can only... that's not true. I can put a 3 in here. Right, we've established that this has to be a low digit. Well, lower than 8 or 6. And therefore there's an in-between in here. Let's just pencil mark options. 1, 2, I mean, this could be 3, it could be 5, with a 7 or a 6 in here. I don't think I can do 6. You know, we've gone back to that possibility of 6, 7, 8. As ridiculous as it sounds, it still feels like a possibility. So I am going to put the 3, 5, 6. You can place a 2 in box 6. You're probably right. Yes, I can. That's a 2. We need another 6, 8 to go on with that 6, 8 up here. That's an 8. That's a 6. That's not a 6. That's a 3. That's a 3. That's... Huh? Rewind, rewind, rewind. Yeah, I did say this is a 1 with a 6 or 8. That 6 means that this is an 8. This is essentially a 1-6 pair. This is a 3-8 pair. The interesting part is I don't actually know how do I break these. So I've clearly made a mistake up here somewhere. No, I don't. That's a 3. That's an 8. 8. That's a 6. That's 8. That's 3. That's 1. That's 6. So that looks okay to me. That's an 8. So I've got in here 5, 7, and 9. That's the 9. That's 5 or 7. So let's just clean this mess up that I've created in here. Is that really 6 with a 7? What am I doing in here then? Because that takes me down to a 3, a 6, a 3, 5 and 7. Unbelievable. It is a 6, 7, 8. That's just incredible. And I think we're pretty much finishing now. 5, and if I've not made any other mistakes, 7 for the solution to today's puzzle. Wow, Gobbler. I made that joke about that 6, 7, 8. I never really thought it would actually turn out as such. But 3 absolutely phenomenal puzzles. Really, thank you so much, Dr. Logic, Willpower, and Gobbler. That's 3 absolutely phenomenal puzzles. I've immensely enjoyed it. I hope that you guys have. That's wow, a 1 hour 45 live stream. I can tell you that I wouldn't have made this without you guys supporting me and enjoying the content. Hope that you enjoyed the live stream. And we're back to the normal schedule of 1 a day on weekdays. There is 1 already in the backlog scheduled for tomorrow, and then back to the normal weekend, slightly harder puzzles. Nothing else from me, just to say thank you and see you back tomorrow. Have a good evening, everyone.